Okay, so welcome everyone. It's that time of year. We're doing candidate interviews, and Michelle Newsom is our first candidate out of the gates this year. And she is running for reelection, MISD School Board. And so today, what we're going to do, we're going to be meeting with her several times within the next 30 to 45 days. But this time, all we're going to do is talk about her, kind of get to know her at a personal level. So this is all for fun. It's going to take us about 10 minutes, nothing real long and involved here. But Michelle, we're going to start out of the gate. I had my first question to you is, it's kind of a combination, but where were you raised? How many siblings do you have? And where are you in the birth order?
Wow, where I was raised is really a long question. I was born in Beaumont, Texas. I've lived in various places in Houston, in Louisiana, in New Pennsylvania, and back to Texas. I ended up graduating high school in Wimberley, Texas. But I actually changed schools almost, I think it's 12, 13 times growing up. So where I'm from is a little bit different. I went to college at what was then Southwest Texas State University. It's now Texas State down in San Marcos. When we moved, I went to nursing school at University of Texas at Arlington, and been living in Mansfield ever since. I have two siblings. I have a younger brother and a younger sister. They're 10 and 13 years my younger, and they live in Boston.
Wow.
And I am the oldest, obviously. So,
Wow. Now, I have to ask you why you moved around so much.
just my mom and her job. My
Okay.
mom was a nurse and um, cutting edge. She was one of the very first dialysis nurses in the state of Texas, and so we kind of went where technology was and where they were first rolling that out so many years ago. And just like any family, sometimes you move back and forth for jobs, and sometimes you move back and forth for to be closer to family that's
Right.
ill and things.
So, did you, growing up, did you have any kind of an idea of what you wanted to do or be when you grew up?
Um, I really wanted to be an attorney for most of my life. I wanted to be a teacher, and those seem very different. And somehow I ended up being a trauma nurse, so I'm not really sure how that happened. Um, but I really wanted to, I think even the attorney was, I just wanted to help people. I can remember thinking that I was going to spend all of that time in law school, and I would be the ones, working legal aid. And so, um, trying to help stand up for people and things like that. And so I had a true passion for teaching. And so, in fact, that's why I went to Southwest Texas State. It had one of the best education schools in Texas. And when it all came down to it, I figured that nursing was going to help me do all of the above.
Hmm. So is that how you went into the nursing path or nursing path, or how did you get there?
I think when I was in high school and college, I had several of my grandparents and Brent's grandparents that were ill, and I ended up being kind of the caretaker of many of my grandparents. And so I realized that it was something that was kind of just in my blood and came naturally to me. Um, and at some point, I realized it would give me the flexibility to have a career that I could be with my children a little bit more. And then it also just had a lot of opportunity.
Yeah.
In fact, I mean, I worked as a nurse in the ER for many years, but I've also been in education in nursing, and I've been um, what do you call it? Consultant, but
Mhm.
now I'm president of SurePoint Emergency Centers, and I run a business for healthcare. So it's really been a career that's given me all kinds of doors to open.
So a trauma nurse, I mean, that's, um, That's high drama. That's like, I mean,
It is.
that's interesting that's something that you went into that particular path, because to me that's kind of like it's like the firefighter or the police officer, the person who loves to run to the danger. Um, is that still in your blood? I mean,
Very much so.
okay.
I loved it. When I went to nursing school, I can remember thinking that I wanted to be that nurse that knew a lot about a lot. I didn't want to know a lot about one thing. I wanted to know a lot about a lot. And um, through some things that had happened in my life, I wanted to make sure that if I was at Kroger and at the park or on the road, I don't know, I just wanted to make sure that I could help somebody.
Wow.
Um, and right out of school, I went to Baylor University Medical Center in downtown Dallas. So I worked trauma level 1 right out of school. So loved every single minute of it. It's all I've ever done is
Yeah.
that aspect of it. And so even my business, I run emergency centers. So there's still a little aspect of it that I still love. I want to go in the ER. I want to still be part of it. I still want to make sure I'm coordinating to help whatever the problem is. And I think it's people usually are like, oh, that's what you do. And they're kind of scared. Um, and I've always thought, what are you talking about? This is the best job ever.
Yeah.
I save lives. Are you
Yeah.
kidding? Who can say
But
that?
you know what you're saying though, it's in what you do. It's the proof um, that we all have some sort of a path that we're supposed to be on. Like I could
Right.
never do what you do. I just couldn't. It's just not in me, right? So let me ask you a question. How do you define success?
Wow. I think success is it's not a number. It's not a place. It's not a level. I think it's being happy with where you are and
Mm.
what you have. So I've I'm lucky enough to actually have a job that I get to go to work every day and I get to do what I love. And I know from talking to other people in the world that not everybody has that same.
Mm.
They're not that lucky, and so it's if, and the best gift I could ever give my children is if I could give them a job that they never had to work at, and that they got to live their passion, right? And so that's
Mhm.
what I feel like I get to do. I get to live my passion, and I think I think that means success.
Yes, I would agree with you. Do you have any kind of a creed or a motto that you live by?
Oh, that one's tough. Let me see. Um, I really, it's even in my senior quote in my yearbook is to trust your heart and you'll never go wrong. It's just because I believe that whatever is in your heart, be it love or passion or service, if you trust in doing what's right, um, it's, it's, it can't lead you down the wrong path. So
Okay. And my final question to you is, um, I know that you have been, how long have you been on the school board?
2 terms, six
Okay.
years.
So what is it that jazzes you about it? And why are you wanting to do it again?
Wow, school board is it's super exciting. It's super complex. It's hard work. It's also um, joy. Like there's nothing but joy that comes out of the results of what you do. So you feel like when you go and you help somebody, but when you get to serve on a board like this with a team like this, you get to touch so many more people and be so much more impactful on a large scale. And it's a great team. I'd like to tell you that this is about me or what I want to do or what I think is right or wrong. I like to be the voice box for someone else and be able to stand up on that soapbox and say, this is what it is for teachers. This is what it is for bus drivers. This is the issue that we need to solve that problem. Um, but getting to work as a team, it's the school board. I've had the pleasure of working with so many people on the school board during my 2 terms. that are just incredible. But the synergy between all of us together, that we all bring something different to the table, has been the best part of it, and what we can do together.
It sounds too like this is your opportunity to be that advocate, the attorney that you kind of thought you wanted, that's what you wanted to do. But I see a kind of a theme with you. You're a fighter for others.
Yep. I'm sure my husband would tell you I'm just a fighter, but I am a fighter for others for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I think that someone has to be willing to step up and do it, because sometimes it's not because others won't, but sometimes it's because others can't,
Mhm.
or they're afraid, or sometimes the message is better served through someone else.
Yeah. Very good. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we will see you at the candidate forums and at our meet and greet that we're going to have in April. But thank you very much for participating with us today.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.